Today, we're in the beautiful flat of visionary entrepreneur Mimi Ikonn in South Kensington, London. Mimi co started a beauty brand which she sold and then launched Intelligent Change, a company that actually changes people's lives through their tools like the 5 Minute Journal and the Productivity Planner, both of which I love. Today, we're going to speak about Mimi's journey from actually launching businesses that are not only successful, but that truly have an impact, and just learn more about why she has made it her life's purpose to have a career that goes beyond the typical career definition, but really about changing people's lives.
What a beautiful introduction.
Thank you for having us, Mimi. So let's get going. You started with a 20K loan, if I'm not mistaken, to build your beauty brand, and then it turned into this huge business, which was loved by so many. And basically, what was a personal loan made a whole difference. Can you tell us like how this started and how such a small initial contribution can turn into such a big endeavor?
Definitely. It's a great story to uncover. So the first business, actually, it wasn't a first business, but the first business that actually worked long term was the Luxy Hair Beauty business that my former husband, Alex Ikonn, and we created together. This was so many years ago now. It was 2010. So both of us at that point read the 4 Hour Work Week and wanted to create this business that would allow us to have a freedom of space and time, and also doing something that actually made us feel excited about learning new things. And then we were also getting married at the same time, and I ended up buying a set of clip-in hair extensions that turned out to be quite bad quality. And I remember putting it in my hair and complaining to my sister that I cannot return this product anymore because it's a hygienic product. And then Alex happened to be in the room and he said, "What's hair extensions? I've never heard of this. Tell me more." So we had a laptop in the room and I showed him some videos of girls clipping the hair in and having that transformation. And Alex said, "Why don't we do it? Like, what do we have to lose?" And at that time, actually, the three of us, because my sister was part of the business at first as well, decided to go on this adventure and create this business that we knew absolutely nothing about hair or beauty industry. But that's the best part. When you don't know, you get to learn about it. So from the idea to the creation of the business was 2 months. And at the time, I just quit my job at a bank. So I had a line of credit for $15,000. And then we got these checks, Visa checks in the mail, which was for $5,000. And it was something like, first it's like interest free for 6 months, and after 6 months, if you don't pay back, you have to pay back something crazy on top. So it's like 20% interest, maybe even more. So we literally had only 6 months to make that money back, because there would be no way we'd be able to pay back otherwise. So we really bet on ourselves, and at the time used Alibaba. We just researched and reached out to different factories, got these samples of hair extensions. I remember we ordered like 10 different ones from 10 different factories. The first one came in, I put it in my hair and I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like a mermaid." This, gave me butterflies in my stomach. And I thought to myself, I shouldn't get excited because there's still 9 more samples coming. And the others were horrible. So there's certain element of luck that is involved when you start a journey. And I feel like it was like preparation meeting the right opportunity. So then we ended up going with that factory, the first sample that we received. And we, in our first year, made our first million, which for us was like flying to the moon, because we just wanted to make $3,000 each so we can, travel to Thailand and all these places and live frugally, but have the freedom of time and space, because for us, that's our top value. But then the business grew so quickly that we realized that we need to, in a way, set roots and not destroy the business. Because also, if something you have created is growing naturally, if you suppress its growth, you're going to eventually long-term destroy it. So we decided to settle in Toronto, and that's at the time anyway where we were living, and get an office and hire employees, like have a real proper serious business. And we did that for 8 years. And then at one point we decided to sell. So we positioned ourselves in the business so that we're no longer like operationally involved. So at the time of the sale, we had somebody as a general manager running the business, and controlling the day-to-day operations. So when we sold the business, we were not part of the sale, and we had complete freedom from the moment of sale. And it was definitely a dream come true. And also something that we created later, I don't know if you want me to go into that already, which is the intelligent change. But
Actually, first,
yeah, if you have
you
any.
mentioned Tim Ferriss's The 4 Hour
Yes,
Week, and Tim Ferriss is also
that
one
was
of my favorite authors, thought leaders, etc. And I think he becomes instrumental a little bit later in the story. But in one sentence, what would you say was, or where would you attribute the success of the company? Because I mean, it's not every day that you start a business in already in an industry that already has so many products, and out of zero, with zero knowledge, you become so successful. So if there was one reason why you think you guys were so successful as a team, what was it?
Are we referring to the Luxy hair? Yeah, I think the timing was definitely right? There was a huge opportunity at the time where the trend of extensions was on the rise, and nobody was doing it in North America. So people were looking for these extensions, and mainly they were buying it from actually the UK and Europe. And there was only maybe one company in the States who was selling online. So there was a lot of companies distributing it in real life, physically in salons, but nobody was yet doing it online. Thinking about it now, it's almost like, really? Like, how did nobody else see it at the time? But this is, again, 2010. People were not buying as many items online as they are now. I mean, we're also comfortable now purchasing on our phones, whereas in 2010, people would use their laptops to make a purchase, right? So things have changed so much. So we definitely saw that opportunity and the trajectory where the consumer trends are going. And we just went for it. And I think a lot of times people would stifle their growth or the opportunity by thinking like, what do I know about this industry? Like, I was not a hairstylist, I knew nothing about hair, but I thought like it's a fun thing to learn about. And what we also used at the time was YouTube and social media, which at the time nobody else used. And we only did it because we had no money to put into marketing. And the only way for us to market the products was to, we thought, to really tell a good story of how you can use the products. So I was very shy at first, thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm going to put my videos on YouTube and all these people will watch these videos. But there was no other way to market them. We had absolutely no money to put into ads or any sort of marketing. So we would make videos and post them on YouTube. And again, the YouTube channel grew very, very quickly. I think in our first year, we already had about 250,000 subscribers. And again, it didn't get there overnight, right? Like first you get your 10 subscribers, 100, then 1,000, then 2,000. And I think what really worked is that we committed to consistency. It was like doing things consistently in the same matter, like providing value. We never bluntly said like, you have to buy the extensions. It was just showing people how they can use the product and telling a good story. And I think ultimately connecting to that need. People often ask me like, I want to start a business, what should it be? Like, I don't know, what is the idea? What's the $1 million idea? And I always tell people, think of your own struggle. Like, do you have something that you wish existed in the world? For me, at that time in the journey, it was, buying hair extensions that were not good quality, that I didn't want to wear for my wedding day, and then creating that for myself and then other people. So I solved my own problem, and I solved the problem for literally hundreds of thousands of women, probably now even more, because the company's been in business for so many years, and it's only been growing to this day. So yeah, it's like always looking for that opportunity of something that you really care about and that can solve your own problem, and then you can share with the world. And that was very authentic, and I think we did it in a way that really resonated with our audience. And then people, even if they didn't buy the hair extensions, they shared with people in their community that needed to have longer, thicker hair for an occasion or just as an extra accessory. And that's how the business grew. And then, yeah, that was definitely a big part of the success.
So that's really an amazing journey. But then you go on to co-found another super successful company, Intelligent Change, which is in a way much more purpose-driven, much more about how do you make an impact in the world? How do you help support people making the right choices in their lives? And how do you better other people's lives, really, much more than even your own problems? So what's Like, what was
What's the story behind? Yeah.
more like what sparked you to wanting to help others, really? Like to create a company that's for the betterment of others. Not so easy.
Again, going back to what I just said, is like connecting to your own challenge or problem. What happened with the success of Luxy Hair, our first business, is that Alex and I both don't come from money. So for us, we thought, oh, if we're gonna make our first million, like we can buy anything and travel anywhere, and like that's when we're gonna be happy. Not that we weren't happy before, but I think when you don't come from money, you're sold this dream that when you have all like a certain amount of money in your account and you can get all these material things, like things will be perfect. And things were far from perfect. In fact, I got really, really depressed. So I was in my like a late, I was 20, probably 23, 24 around that time, like when we started the business. And yeah, it was my quarter life crisis, I would say, because once we made our first million, and even before, like the company started making money very quickly. And very early on, I could afford anything and go anywhere. And I remember thinking that actually I don't want any of these things. So then having like these existential questions of like, why am I here? What's my purpose? And realizing that very early on that money doesn't buy you happiness. It was a really great time. It was a difficult time, obviously, in the moment, but now looking back, it made me like reevaluate my whole life and like set new value system and create a new vision for myself. And I think oftentimes when people get in that experience, they can get in that vicious cycle of, oh, I am making money, but like I should be making more. I need to get a yacht, a private jet. I need to have more, more, more. And it's like, yeah, and you can get stuck there forever. Whereas I could already imagine myself having way more and seeing that it's not going to fulfill me, and then asking that deeper question of, okay, then what fulfills me? Like what makes me happy every morning, and gives me purpose in the morning, like makes me feel alive and healthy and excited for the day. And I realized that it's serving people. Like I love connecting with people. I love serving people. And as I was doing my inner work, I discovered the power of gratitude. And definitely two things that helped me was meditation and gratitude. And I've integrated both and have been using both for many years. And of course, there's more things like affirmations, and we can discuss that. But at that point in my life, as I was going through literally the darkest period of my life, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, everything, I remember just like starting practicing gratitude daily. And it really, I would say, was that light at the end of the tunnel, because I think when you are focusing on all the good things in your life, you are, I mean, scientifically proven now, you're activating this part of your brain called RAS, reticular activating system, which is like a filter. So the more you focus on something, the more it is integrated, and it's kind of knows what to focus on in your day. So again, if you watch the news, if you talk about all the gossip and all the negative things, that's what RAS is going to focus on and see more of. Now, if you do the opposite and you actually every morning and every evening focus on all the good things, journal, talk about it, write it down, then throughout the day, your brain is going to actively look for all the good things in your life. And the more you focus on the good, the more good you see, the more good you experience. There's so much science research now that shows the overall health benefits and benefits for sleep and all these relationship benefits that also come through having that kind of mindset of focusing on the good in life. So of course I can talk more about it, but that was like one of the biggest insights that I got through that period of my life. And then deciding to kind of create a practice that can be not so long. And because at first we got inspired by Tony Robbins, actually, and it was this gratitude walk that Alex and I used to do, which would take an hour every morning. We would go on these walks and talk about all these things we're grateful for, whether real or whether the things that we wanted to manifest that we didn't yet have in our experience. And literally, Ellen, I can tell you now, most of those things came true, like 95%. And the ones that didn't come true is just things we didn't want anymore anyways. So we knew the power of that was unbelievable, but it was also not sustainable to go on these 1 hour walks every day. So, it was us kind of going through a lot of like self-growth books and finding a way to integrate all this research, because a lot of times when you read a book, you're left with all these insights, but you close the book and then there's no way to practice what you have learned. So we created this very simple tool called the 5-minute journal to help people in 5 minutes a day to practice something that can fundamentally rewire their thinking and their subconscious mind. And we'll always tell people to do it first thing in the morning and right before they go to sleep, because that's when you're the closest to your subconscious mind. And in the morning, it's very simple. I can go through the practice right now. And again, you don't need to buy the journal. You can do it in any blank notebook. Or you can just talk about it with your partner or your friend, your sibling, your parent. And in the morning, you go basically through 3 things you're grateful for. And then you are also kind of priming the day. So you're thinking like, what are some great things that will happen today? Because again, oftentimes we can wake up and think like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And again, you're like stressing yourself out. Whereas here you are envisioning what are some great things that can happen. It could be something small, like you smiling at a stranger or having a workout, because you know that's going to make you feel good, and putting those down. And then you end the morning session with affirmations. And again, those are I am or I feel statements that you can create for yourself based on how you want to feel and what you want to experience. And then the ending of the day is basically reflecting on the day. Now, oftentimes, again, people will look at their day and think of all the things that went wrong. Whereas here, there's so much research coming out now where even if people practice for 21 days and every day write down 3 good things that happened today, that in 21 days, your overall health and well-being will really amplify. So a lot of research that is coming out that actually proves that this works, and it's so simple to integrate in your life. So basically, yeah, you just look at your day and write 3 things that were good that day, and we can all find something good that happened in a day. So we're not looking for like huge, transformational experiences. Just again, going for a walk in the park, like having a great conversation with a friend, and again, putting those down, you start appreciating these things more and creating these things more in your life.
Well, first of all, thank you for being so honest and sharing so authentically that the moment you made success, so to speak, you became successful, you actually fell into a depression. I think for the majority of us who have been told this is the story of life and you just need to reach this goal, that goal, that goal, and everything is going to be okay, we all fall into this depression. And then it's a question, like which path do we take? Do we take the path where you keep on trying for more, or do you take the path of, for example, practicing meditation, gratitude, etc.? And it's so easy to fall down the wrong path because life keeps on throwing at us so many things. So it's so amazing that you actually decided to build it into a company to help others. Now, I'm a complete believer in everything you said. And one of my favorite things about the 5-minute journal is because we all live very busy lives. But one of the things your journal forced me to do is to say, if this day goes well, how does it look? Because to your point, my focus goes on making that happen. And the likelihood of me making those 3 things happen is almost 100% once I've written them down. Would you say that you're almost, through all the good work you've done and the people you brought together, you're almost ready also building a community around intelligent change, which is flourishing and like has a ripple effect on more and more and more?
Absolutely. So as the company grew and we started focusing on it more closely, and started hiring more team members and adding more new products, like we have affirmations and games and even a skincare product and so many other things that we're adding to our product catalog, we realized the actual bigger need is the community that all of us are craving to have. And it's virtual communities are wonderful. I think it's a beautiful thing that we all need as well, but I think this physical interaction is something that can never be replaced. And as you came to attend our first Intelligent Change Summit last year, actually this year in Ibiza, in April was our first experience with an in-person event and gathering of change makers and artists from all over the world. And it was at Six Senses. We had a full buyout, and it was truly the best 3 days of my life. I don't know how you experienced
My
it.
top 3 days too.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And the reason to that is because everybody who was there was carefully curated, and everybody who attended were very conscious human beings who are living their life authentically, doing something that makes them happy, and they're open and they choose love versus fear. They choose abundance versus scarcity. It's like a very particular mindset. But I think most importantly, it's like people who are vulnerable. And I think oftentimes vulnerability is an interesting word where people can look down on vulnerability. But in fact, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you're authentic and real, and you inspire those around you to be, act, and embody the same attitude. And it was really one of the first and of many. We're going to be doing another one this following year in April as well. But I think the bigger picture for Intelligent Change is creating more of these events on a global scale. We're going to be having more events in London, small workshops, but also bigger scale events that are more inclusive, where more people can attend, but it will be like a one-day event. And also having a retail space, that's definitely a big vision as well, is creating first a retail space here in London and then other places in the world, big cities, because people are craving these places. A lot of people were religious. I feel like a lot of people our age, and especially younger generation, they no longer practice religion. But one great thing with religion is like you would have a church or a mosque where you would go to hang out with like-minded people. And I think we're looking for that place now. All of us are looking for a place where we can go and make friends and maybe potentially meet a romantic partner or meet somebody you can build a business with or just have, a friendship and a relationship with. And we definitely envision an intelligence change space being that a community that brings people who are into self-growth and wellness and this whole attitude of abundance and choosing love.
You just mentioned that you're creative at heart.
Yes, very much so.
And you're a very successful entrepreneur.
Thank you.
What would be your 3 maybe top advice for creatives who want to be an entrepreneur but do the conscious well-being to themselves, to others way, rather than what we've been taught? We've been taught kind of, if you're the strong, more alpha, more, very dominant masculine energy. At least that's kind of the world we grew up in.
Yeah.
That's how you're successful. And I think you're trying to set a different path, both for creators and entrepreneurs. What kept you, or what was for you like the 3 most important things that you think others, if they follow, it'll help them too?
I think one of the concepts that really helped me, I read this in a book called Do the Work by Steven Pressfield. Have you read it? It's like a tiny little book, but it talks about resistance and how any creative person will come across resistance, or not even creative person, literally anybody who wants to start and do anything will have that little monkey in the mind telling you you're not good enough, your ideas don't matter, this will never succeed. So that little book is super powerful in like learning to integrate that resistance and know that ultimately it's never going to go away. Like I've been on camera for years now, but every time I sit down to film, of course there's the little voice still there, but like, do I listen to it? No, I listen to my inner intuition that guides me and tells me like, this is what I'm here to do. So I think connecting to that is really important. And then also knowing that, I guess number 2 is like knowing that whatever you do now doesn't have to be what you do forever. Like fully go and do what you want to do, but ultimately know that you don't need to get stuck there. Like be honest with yourself, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, just like with us and Luxy Hair. I enjoyed doing Luxy Hair. It did bring me purpose as well, because we would get hundreds of emails from women saying that like we've changed their lives. They never had long and thick hair, and like it made them feel really beautiful on their special day, or even day to day gave them confidence. So some of these emails would make me cry, but ultimately I knew that this is not the ultimate mission of why I'm here, but it served its purpose while I did it for those 8 years. I truly found the purpose in what I was doing. So I think also, again, being grateful for what you're doing now and finding the purpose in what you're doing now as you're getting to where you want to go. So also then maybe number 3, creating that vision of where you want to go, because I think that ultimately without the vision, you can never get there. You're going to be like going in the same vicious cycle. Again, whether it's a career or relationship, I think having a vision is the most important thing of getting there.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you for having
Absolute
us in
pleasure.
your beautiful home. Thank you for being so authentic. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for the summits you organize. Thank you for everything. We love your company. We love you, and we're so grateful to be doing it today.
Thank you, dear Elena. Thank you for giving me the platform today to share my story. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to more podcast episodes from you, and appreciate what you do in the world and the message that you spread as well.
Thank you.